I'd like to welcome everyone to Monday, January 9th, Daniel Town Council meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. As usual, we always start off with a public comment concerning any issue not on the agenda. And before we get into that, I'm going to change a couple of line items around, but since I've already opened my mouth about the public comment, is there any concerning or anything that the public would like to mention that's not on the agenda? Okay.
Is that for the council too? Anything that wouldn't be on the agenda?
Sure.
I'd kind of like to talk about our agreement with the Heber Power,
Okay.
our franchise agreement. When do we have to back out of that before it's, before it automatically renews? Is anybody aware of that date?
I just thought it was 12 or 15 years. I think we did 15 years.
Did we do 15?
Yeah, when they want us like 30 or 25 or something.
They wanted a lot. I know we didn't give them that, but
I thought it was 10, and we're about 5 years into it.
about
The
5
reason I say it's 10 is they copied it for another town just recently, and when I reviewed it, it was 10.
Was it?
So I think ours is 10, so
Did you guys,
I would
did
say
everybody know about
4
the
years.
public hearing they had?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that.
They gave $100,000 to each municipality that's involved in that.
The owners.
Yeah. So, I think it would probably behoove us to review that anyway.
Okay, we'll say that again.
They gave $100,000 to each municipality
So
that's
you
owners.
Power
Who?
People like power.
distributed back to the owners.
Dividends.
Yeah.
Oh, to the-
300,000. That was the raise we just got a year ago.
So anyway, I didn't know if you guys was aware of that. Anyway, I think we ought to keep our eye on that. As that, I know we have to do that
Public?
prior or it will automatically renew, so
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you would.
Then could you make a note and just find that date and be able to report back? Next month would be okay as far as finding that
Yeah.
date out. Okay.
Yeah, I just think we ought to put it on our long term. I don't
Because
kind
when I
of,
saw that, I didn't think we could do a whole lot about it, except that did cross my mind is there's several things besides that as far as that agreement that I would like to talk about. then I-
Yes. yes, agreed.
Wow.
Um, Great. We'll move on to the next item, which I'm going to move up to be a presentation of for our audit by Spencer Hines with Gilbert and Stewart and Gilbert and Stewart. And he's given us a packet, each one of us have, that I'm sure he'll be able to explain to us.
Yeah.
Give us the
We'll go ahead and just read word for word everything here. No, I'm just kidding.
Want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead. Just want to first excuse Ben Probst. He's sitting on the beach somewhere right now, hopefully getting sunburned or something, trying to relax before the really busy tax season. But as you said, my name is Spencer. I'm just here at the firm, and I want to tell Sherry and Lynn, thank you for your help with doing the audit. It's it's a privilege to do it. We're grateful for another year to be able to do it. Like I said, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of numbers in this audit report. I'm not going to dive into every one of them. I'm just going to talk about the three main things that we look at, probably the three main things that you're most interested in as a city council or town council. If you turn to page 1 first, this is the independent audit report. This is just basically telling you everything we did, and this is really the meat and potatoes of what we did. If you look down on the bottom of that page 1, there's that in opinions. We gave the town an unmodified opinion, a clean opinion, the best opinion you could get. We didn't find any problems with the statements or any of that kind of stuff. So that came with looking at cash, accounts receivables, just really looking at everything. This is the culmination of all of our procedures that we did. So that's probably the most important part of what we did, and the main thing that we wanted to convey is that you had an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. And then the following 40 pages you could really dive into if you want for some late night reading. It's really fun stuff, but it really is. I will say, if you're really interested in anything that happened during the year, if you read this management discussion and analysis, it's going to give you a brief synopsis of everything that happened for the town. If you have any questions, go to that. That really explains everything that would have happened or may interest you. So, if you flip back to page 40, this is the second thing that we really spend a lot of time on. We don't issue an opinion on it, but we look at the internal controls for the city, or excuse me, for the town. We look at how things are going. If we feel like there's a problem, this is where we would note it. We did note on a couple pages back, and I just talked to Lynn about this, on this schedule of findings and responses, there's a segregation of duties in this draft of financial statements. These are inherent of any small city or town in the state. They simply just don't have the money or the staff to be able to segregate all of your duties. But as I talked to Lynn and Sherry, a lot of those are being segregated. And I think this is something that we could probably get away from in the future. It's something I kind of left in there because I wanted to talk and make sure we were all okay with that. But speaking with them, they are getting those segregation duties in place that will really keep you safe. It is a problem if you have one person doing absolutely everything for obvious reasons. And Sherry and Lynn seem to be doing a good job of segregating those duties and trying to mitigate that risk there. So you will see in that report, we reference that 16-1 to 16-2. The draft of the financial statements is also something I think is going to go away next year with employing Flores, the accounting software that you're going forward with. They are a great asset. They're really going to help a lot with the trial balance and keeping things straight, putting everything where it needs to go. So I'm hoping that next year as well, that'll be something that's gone away and not something that's worked out. So as far as internal controls, we're looking at the big things, the material weaknesses, the significant deficiencies, and there's not really anything. We just wanted to make sure to note those things on page 42. The last thing that we spend quite a bit of time looking at is on page 43. This is the stuff the state wants us to look for. There's just some state compliance that they ask us to look at. And there's kind of a list of them right there in the middle of page 43. And I wasn't able to find any problems with any of those. So again, if you kind of flip the page there, there's another opinion paragraph. And we decided that the town complies in all material respects with those compliance that the state wants us to look at. So like I said, those three main things the town seems to be doing really good at. I don't have any problems. So, unless you have any questions for me on anything that you hear.
Can you help on page 40, this second paragraph from the bottom talks about these deficiencies. So do we get noted as having a deficiency in this area?
Yeah. If you flip back over to page 42, I wouldn't call them necessarily a deficiency, more of a finding, something that we want to bring to the towns, to your attention. A deficiency really means that there was a problem that caused a material misstatement on the financial statements. And these segregation of duties didn't cause a material misstatement, so I wouldn't call them a deficiency. I would say that they're a finding or something that you want to look at or something you want to pay attention to.
Okay, so this paragraph 40 doesn't say we have a deficiency then?
Yeah, no. There's certain deficiencies in internal controls. If you look at that second paragraph there, you have what are called material weaknesses, and then you have the significant deficiencies. This would be, you could categorize it as a deficiency, but not a significant deficiency, not something that would cause a material misstatement on the financial statements.
Okay, so do you recommend what we do to fix this, other than this paragraph? And maybe if I read it, you say what to do in here.
Yeah, I think, so the town hasn't needed an audit for a couple of years. They kind of had these what are called agreed upon procedures. And this year you got pushed into an audit because of the acquisition or the donation of Storm Haven, and it pushed your revenue high enough that you had to have it. So I know a couple of years ago, Ben really worked with Lynn and Sherry a lot on resolving this issue. Putting in place like the recording of the water receipts and depositing cash and reconciling the bank account and all those types of things. And from my understanding, a lot of those are being taken care of, correct? So like I said, I think this is something that could go away. And I think next year probably won't be a problem. So like I said, I probably could have taken this off this year, but it's a really inherent limitation with any small town. Any small town, they just don't have the staff to segregate every duty possible. So that's kind of something that is on almost all small towns. That's a good question, though.
Everyone, council, like a few more minutes to maybe look at a few other pages.
Getting getting bigger each year.
Yeah, this year, I had to add about 7 to 8 pages, well, about 10 actually. The state, in their infinite wisdom, decided to add something for pensions. And that really added about 8 pages of notes just on pension liability, that if everything came crashing down, what would you have to pay right now? And you'll see that in the financial statement. So yeah, the audit report is bigger this year than it ever has been. And they'll kind of be there all the time.
What are they preparing for?
Well, I like your comment in the beginning, how, everything looked really nice, and we got the
Yeah.
highest rating that you could give out as far as
Yeah.
our competency in taking care of things we should. So I'd like to thank the council and everybody that does their
Sherry.
job. Sherry, absolutely, and then being able to keep things organized, so.
Absolutely.
That's a public thank you for sure from all of us. Anyone have any other questions for Spencer by chance?
Did you read that top one, John, on 44?
Yeah, I did.
Kind of covered the other one you were looking at on 40.
I think I did, yeah.
Thanks for making us look good.
Yeah, no, I didn't make you. You guys are doing great. I just come in and look at it.
And thanks to the women to keep us in check.
Yeah.
We like your opinion.
Thank you very much.
You bet. You're welcome.
One question, will we have this audit next year?
I don't anticipate it next year. The way it is that if the city or town or the municipality of any size, if their revenue or expenditures are below $750,000, then they're not required to have an audit. And we thought that was gonna be the case, and we went forward with what's called the agreed upon procedure. We don't issue opinions with agreed upon procedures, we just look at certain procedures, certain things that we agree upon. And this year, we started with that, and then we realized with the donation of Storm Haven, it pushed the revenue over $750,000. So I kind of anticipate next year it not being an audit and being a agreed upon procedure, but you just never know until you start looking at the numbers and seeing where we're at.
We hope we do need one.
Yeah, if you need one, that means you're getting more money, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you were close.
I mean,
I
the
think-
grant came in.
That's right.
Yeah, I think you were right around 600, 650 before you factored in that donation. So you were close, but you were close. So hopefully,
Who put the
you
value?
do, right?
Who put the value on that?
On the money coming in.
I know on that Storm Haven, when you say.
I worked with, at Epic Engineering, what was his
Worked
name?
with me.
Oh, Ryan, oh, Aaron.
What was that?
Better not bad about the right. I worked with Ryan, and he kind of gave me it looked like some fair market values on those water rights and water shares, and also the land. We didn't really factor any of the equipment, just because you kind of turned around and fixed it.
Yeah, we valued the land because land has a real value, and we valued the water right because the water right has a value, and we said the rest of the system was generous of us to take.
So you'll see on the audit
Probably
report,
well
the
worth
only
it.
thing we picked up was those water rights and the land,
Okay.
which equaled about $504,000.
Well, it sounds better than what we thought we got. Good job, Ryan.
Kim, any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay,
All right.
Awesome, thank
all right,
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good night.
You too.
I'll see if I can get down the canyon safe, right?
Yes.
Provo or Parlors?
Provo.
Thanks,
It's
Lord.
raining pretty hard on the way out, yeah. So,
Take care.
I've written that down, unmodified opinion. I might have
That's
to
the
use,
best they can get.
I might have to use that. I have an unmodified opinion.
Oh, well, at least a good, better, or best or something.
Yeah.
Great, we'll move on to item number 2, which will be the public hearing regarding the Community Development Block Grant for 2017. With that, I'll take a motion and we will go to public hearing. It should be fairly straightforward. I have some specific wording that I need to read, and then if there's any other questions, we'll certainly talk and then go to the questions that need to be. But yeah, each year that we go after this, we we have this that we need to go through. So I'll entertain a motion to close this meeting and open a public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close this hearing and we need two motions or one?
Well, we need to close the
Go out of, just make a motion to go out of regular session and open the public
Okay.
hearing.
Yeah, make a motion to go out of this public hearing and
this regular meeting.
this regular meeting and go from there.
And open up this public hearing. Okay. We have a motion to end this, or, excuse me, get out of this meeting and open up a public hearing.
Second.
We have a second.
I'm not sure what I seconded, but I think I got the general idea.
We're leaving this meeting. We're not going anywhere, but we're leaving it.
We have a second. Any discussion on it? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let me start off with how I need to read, and we'll go from there. This meeting is being called to consider potential projects for which funding may be applied under the 2017 Community Development Block Grant Program. Grant monies must be spent on projects benefiting primarily low and moderate income persons. The Mountain Land Association of Government, in which Town of Daniel is a member, is expecting to receive approximately $500,000 in the new program year. All eligible activities that can be accomplished under this program are identified in the CDBG application policies and procedures manual, and interested persons can review it at any time. Examples of eligible activities include construction of public works and facilities, and so on, water and sewer lines, fire stations, acquisition of real property, provisions of public services such as food banks or homeless shelters, and culinary water projects such as upgrade in the Stormhaven area. Danieltown is looking at the possibility of drilling a new well and eventually constructing a large storage tank. Also eligible are loan programs for private businesses, which would then hire low-income persons, and the program can also pay for housing, rehabilitation, or down payments assistance for low-income homeowners. In the past, Danieltown received $318,000 in 2009, $290,835 in 2010, and $50,000 in 2011 for construction on the municipal culinary water system, and most recently $44,800 in 2015 used to upgrade water meters and the pump house facility at Stormhaven. The town has handed out its capital investment plan as part of the regional consolidated plan. This list shows which projects the town has identified as being needed in the community. At this time, I think take any questions or suggestions, or does anyone have any comments with regards to or specific responses and suggestions during this hearing? Council members, have any questions with regards to the grant, or any questions?
So, yeah, so is this for the Stormhaven
This would be for,
board? Okay.
Do you know when proposals are due, Ryan?
End of the month.
The end of this month? And is ours kind of written?
Lynn and I have been working on it, we've made good headway.
Do you need any help with that?
Yes.
It's kind of in Ryan's part of his time with the specifics on his project in mind, so.
We got approval from Cheryl today for the survey and some other key items were good, so with that we can move forward.
Okay. On that in particular project?
Yeah, for the well. Well, so
for the grant.
what we were trying to do is we were gonna use the CDBG for the well, and then an SRF grant for the tank and the related facilities. If you remember the 2009 project, it was pretty much the same thing, so that one worked really well, so I figured if the plan worked, why change it? So we're basically asking for CDBG for the well, and then SRF will carry the tank and some of the other stuff if we have to.
Okay.
So hopefully it turns into another, all the stars align again, it'll become a bigger project. If it doesn't, we'll be able to drill the well and connect it to the existing system and then get the bigger grant, or bigger loan grant combo at another time and move forward at a slower pace.
I'd like to make maybe a positive, optimistic comment on what Ryan had said. When Lynn and I went to the meeting that whatever municipality was looking for a grant had to have some members there, there's only 2 people that had some water issues, which are kind of at the top of the list, and I feel, and it's a personal feeling, that we probably have a very good chance of getting quite a bit more dollars than we certainly did last year with regards to the monies they have available to them. And so, pretty important year probably for us if we can get that.
Has CDBG agreed to pay for the engineering on this one?
No, they haven't agreed to pay anything yet.
We haven't submitted it for any of those things.
But didn't we, how did that work before, Ryan? Did we get approval somehow before for so much engineering costs?
No.
I believe the last time we wanted to do the 44,000 plus an engineering study, and they took our engineering study out, is what I remember from last time. So that last time they came back and said they would not pay for the engineering.
Okay.
So this time we're gonna put it all in with the cost for the design and construction and all that, and we'll
Okay.
see what they do.
And so right now, any costs going towards the proposal are coming from the town. And then hopefully we would reimburse the town if we get the award. Is that
Right.
Was this another meeting?
I think we did that a little
You need
bit
some more council members?
What's that, Mr.
So
Sergeant?
to date, all the costs have been associated with the SRF, the
We're gonna have
CDBG
another
grant.
meeting.
I
You need some
helped
council meeting.
write a scope of work, but there hasn't been any costs associated with that for anybody yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So there will be as we move forward with the grant here in the next couple of weeks, but there hasn't been anything in CDBG other than some scoping and discussions. We have moved forward, Epic's moved forward. Epic was working on that SRF grant loan combination. That's the bigger portion from Division of Drinking Water.
You got Corey?
SRF is usually pretty good for paying for engineering fees. CDBG wants to pay for the infrastructure and the actual project. And so, I mean, you can even get some of the planning grant and engineering grant up front, that you gotta roll back into your loan when they fund that. So I think that's a good idea of combining those two, because I think you can use that as part of your engineering.
Okay. Any other questions?
So moving forward on that grant, are you gonna write that CDBG grant then, Ryan? Is that the plan?
That was my plan. I was going to continue to work with Lynn and make sure that we get things submitted before the deadline.
Okay.
And there's been some changes in between the working on it and things in the last few weeks that have not really changed anything as much as we'll be discussing that here in a little bit. Anything else with regards to this particular grant?
On your wording on that, Chip, you read something about the low income.
I did. There's in 2 areas. So also eligible loan programs for private businesses which would then hire low-income persons, and the program can also pay for housing, rehabilitation, or down payment assistance for low-income homeowners. So if we have a town identified that in an area or something, then next year, if that's on our list, then we can apply for some of those kind of monies if it's need be.
For low income housing would be part of that.
Says it's on this
Qualified.
particular, you know, they give us this template that I need to read, and that's definitely,
There were a couple organizations at the workshop that were looking at low-income housing as their project.
So the project was to build low-income housing or just fund low-income housing?
out of that 500 grand, there were several members that had their own projects that they were looking for some grant from CDBG themselves for their low-income housing projects. And it wasn't necessarily a municipality, it was an individual or something. Wasn't it, Linda, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. There was, I think, a municipality as well.
Well, the municipality's got first pick.
They would have more points per se, yes, as far as when the board picked on the monies going out.
Mayor,
That's correct.
I was just curious, the trailer court that's on 3,000 south of Daniel, here 3 years ago, it had a septic tank drain field problem where we actually had raw sewage up on top of the ground. Is that gentleman who owns that trailer court, is he aware of some of this grant money, or is he applied?
Actually, I'm just aware of it right now, as far as the low-income monies and things, I don't know if he is or not, but I myself, with regards to the low-income housing and looking for assistance that way, I know in the meeting we had, some people were looking at it, but I didn't know how it pertained to the municipalities themselves and working with a private individual in that case, whether they themselves would go directly to it or try to have us as a sponsor go through it, but we've not been asked.
They'd have to use you as a sponsor because they don't fund private entities.
And I can tell you, he's been pretty unresponsive to the town.
Yes.
Well, that's fine if it just keeps the smell of
Wind's always blowing the other direction.
That was a bad situation. I was very surprised even how it got resolved.
it. I don't know if it's got to fix either.
Right.
That's why I was curious if that individual had talked to you about it.
They got it enough to where the county health department said it's better than it was, and that's about as good a comment as the town could get at that time. Which I don't believe would still pass the muster test for most folks, but our county health did think that we're close to it. Any further comment? If not, Chair will entertain a motion with regards to closing the public hearing and going back into regular session.
Motion to close the first public hearing on the CDBG block grant 2017.
Okay, we have a motion to close and open back up. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, we have a second. Any last discussion? All in favor? Aye. We're back in regular session. Then at this point, with regards to reading that, is there a motion that needs to be made with regards to the block grant, or we just move forward now?
We can just move forward.
Do we need to set a second hearing?
No, that's not set until you have been awarded the funding.
Awesome.
So it's only when it's awarded after the present, after you apply. Okay. We're going to move on to item number 4. And is there anybody here from the Lumberfield Farms Learning Center by chance to go over this line item?
Nope, not seeing.
Okay. We'll probably continue that item then and communicate with them in the future.
Need a motion for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Make a motion to continue Lilyfield Farms to our next meeting. An agenda item.
We have a motion to continue as an agenda item next meeting. Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Eric. Item number 5, request for zone change at 2950 South Highway 40. I'd like to come up and state, Mark, state your name and kind of, we wanted this on the agenda for this evening, and we'll have a good listen and go from there.
Mark McAllister, just recently purchased property there at, Chip mentioned 2950 South Highway 40. Just curious what the feelings are with the council to have the property rezoned to a commercial property and what the process and what might happen along the way.
Congratulations on your purchase.
Thank you.
First step.
So each year, an applicant can apply by July, and the town would consider it in November as far as a zone change. Mark's come tonight to kind of see where we stand, and if we can probably initiate the process, because it is certainly up to us to be able to do that, and initiate the process. It's not doing anything more than starting the process to have him go through for a zone change. In my mind, his particular piece of property is a little unique because it has a continued use that is kind of commercial. Yes, it is in a residential area, but I personally see no problem on starting the process and seeing what the outcome is.
Got another corridor too.
is in the corridor.
Yeah.
Is that, did I word that properly as far as what you're looking for? As far as from us to be able to start the process to?
Yes. I just wasn't quite sure where it started and wanted to
What it was-
officially put it on the docket, I guess somehow.
Put an app in.
So my understanding would be that if the council wanted tonight to do that, then we would make a motion to do so and send it to planning. And then it would go through the planning process, and then it would come back to us in the final process, however long that would take. The other option would be if the council decided not to look at it now, then you would have the opportunity in July to get it submitted as an application, and then we would look at it the following November. Would I be correct in that?
That's correct.
Any discussion or any comments from the council about it?
So if he started his application as soon as possible,
Wait, yes, and if we would,
then we could turn that over to planning.
yes.
All we're looking for tonight is, Mark's here looking for an initiation from the council to move a zone change forward. That starts the process, we handle it outside of that timeframe.
Okay, we don't need an application.
No, and we're not gonna say whether we're gonna make it commercial, we don't need any of that information. All we need is initiation from the council or the planning commission to get that going.
And that's based on the statement that says that the planning can initiate zone changes whenever they,
Yeah,
or the
council or planning, yeah.
Do we set precedents with that, Eric, at all? If we decided not to on somebody, would that come back and be a bad thing?
It could be, I don't know though, Mark's been up front. He's been here the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Been very involved in our code writing of the business licenses, and I don't think he's out of line asking for that. As he's
I
moved
don't
forward,
either.
and I don't,
I think I support it, but I just wonder if we're setting a precedence for,
somebody else to come along.
yeah.
For me,
And maybe that's okay.
No, that's good.
I think
hey,
it's
the
kind of-
council's gotta decide if they wanna do that or not.
I think there might be certain months where we're just overloaded and we have 30 things on the docket, and we're like, no, I don't think we can handle that right now. And, you know, make them wait, but, you know, I don't see that at this point in time.
You know, the key for me is that the continued use is already kind of commercial. Otherwise, I think that it's as far as setting a precedence, because I certainly thought of that more than once, because that would, I'm not liking to set precedents we don't want to handle, but there's certainly a different circumstance that, and property, and the rights on that property than probably most people have outside the RA zone.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we move ahead on the 2950 South Highway 40 of Mark McAllister's property that he's newly acquired to go to the planning commission.
So we have a motion to start the process and move it forward, and let Mark do what needs to get done. We have a second. We have a first and a second. Any last discussion?
Yeah, I think we should know that this is more of a bring into compliance property that's out of compliance rather than a zone change. We're actually working towards a compliance of our code. So we have a use that's not allowed, but has been grandfathered in, and by this means, it brings it into compliance with our Daniel Town Code. I think that needs to be noted.
I do too, that's good.
Yeah.
Good comment there, thank you. We had the comment, any last comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
No.
Wow.
I have an application filled out. Would you like it now, or was that come on later?
That'll come on later. We'll put it on the planning commission, and we'll be talking about that on the 18th.
Thank you. Mark? Okay, item number 6, possible appointment of Ryan Taylor, who has moved over from to EDA Engineers as another town engineer. What I felt is that we certainly want to continue, we have issues and things that are still certainly moving on with Epic. We certainly want to have Ryan's expertise as well that we've relied on for many years, and so I'd like to just add him to our list and have him still be our town engineer and working with Epic and or any other persons that we need to work with to get the job done. So So with that, I'll turn it over to council, if any questions or comments, and I know that we'd be ready if the motions to be made, we're able to make that happen. And I would like to say it probably would be very important for us to have that happen because the grant issue is coming up so quickly in 3 weeks.
I think it's smart, because I think that there's just things that Epic has that they've been, working on in the past that they need to still, keep going on,
Right.
just under, guidance of Ryan, and they can follow it through, and I don't have any problem with it.
Okay. Any other comment? Council?
So we'll be bringing both on for this, and I guess we should talk to Epic and kind of, are we okay doing something like this?
Yeah, so I guess I do have some questions on the.
We were not gonna blow by you, you're gonna.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So,
Okay.
Let Eric finish.
Do you want me to finish?
Absolutely.
Okay, because Epic has done a fantastic job for this town. From inception, we were a dream, so we've come a long ways, we've done a lot. So if this will work, we're looking towards the town to combine all of the resources that we have to make us move forward.
so I'm not, so I guess my question is the way the mayor stated it, versus the way that I heard it from the other two. I'm just curious of how relationship works, because I think we gotta be clear with relation to the expectations of who's doing what.
I would say from my comment, I don't think there needs to be two heads on a snake. We need one head.
Yeah,
And so I think that we want to keep the relationship working and doing things. I think we need to also keep Brian, who handles many issues that may or may not be familiar with all the personnel there. And so we want to make an addition and not a subtraction or take away from.
and so I guess the head on the snake is my question, because we just need to all be clear with relation to that. So what I think that I heard you say was have Ryan as the town engineer with his ability to utilize Epic and other people with relation to tasks as they come up.
That's what I said.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure. I know that Ryan's met with Joe and we talked through some rates of how we would look at subbing to GDA on projects as they come up. I don't know how we work with all the day-to-day stuff. Presently, that stuff goes to, delivered to Epic. We hand that through building inspection, everything else, coordinates through Chris and that type of stuff. Would all that stuff coordinate, because the way that you explained it, all that stuff would coordinate through Ryan, and then Ryan would determine who he subs that out to?
I don't know if it's who he decides who he subs it out to. We are expecting to still continue to train. You have the members and things. I don't believe he has that as we're speaking. You have your personnel that's done what they've done for a long time, and so we would have the one person coordinate that, but it would be, and that's something that you both need to work at, and I know what's kind of gone on the last few weeks, and I guess, the council would like to know if that's still workable with you as Epic.
Yeah, so the last 2 weeks, we've met with your staff, with your people, and took direction, went and took care of that, and then we reached out to Ryan as questions arose with relation to agreements that he might have made or visits that he might have had with people. That would change with relation to how I perceive you just explained that, because we wouldn't meet with your people would meet with Ryan, and Ryan would meet with our people.
I would think that we're not going to complicate it, meet with lots of people, so it probably would be going this direction and hopefully back and forth and amicably.
Okay. So, I'm just trying to be clear so that I know how to manage my staff in addition to that. Because the last thing I think that you need is two people doing the same thing.
Agreed.
So, that's, I think, important.
Council, I was speaking, did I say anything that the council did not feel comfortable with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Means that I'm between the engineer and the town.
Okay.
I'm not willing to turn that all over to Ryan to decide where those things go.
Okay.
As I guide the town through the planning process, I have to be able to direct where those things go. If there's something that I have that's a better fit somewhere else, then I have to have the ability to send it that way, to keep the cost down, to be efficient, and so I have to have some say in that.
That's the head of the snake.
So,
You call him a snake?
No.
Yeah, it's all worse.
snakes, Moses held up the snake too.
That's right, that's just an analogy.
So I've worked with a lot of communities. We've had a lot of different relationships on things, especially when you have somebody that has a lot of professional experience with relation to the community. And so I think that it can be done of what we talked about under that scenario, of having the flexibility to reach out to
I would take my back and go with what Eric and that.
to the design team as your services, because oftentimes there's a pool, and then city has the ability to reach out to different pool members for different experts.
And that's how I view that. As certainly we would take those and best forward. If something comes and you think that that's better there, then that's where we're gonna,
Yeah.
we wanna be user friendly. That's what we've strived to be as a town. I think we do it pretty good. So I think that needs to be kept as a nucleus, that we still have hands on the, boots on the ground, isn't that what they call it?
Yeah.
What are the kind of
You have
things-
control over that.
Well, I don't know if it's control, the council
At
has
least
control, but
semi-control over that,
I just think as a director, directing where things are and how things are moving.
yeah.
So,
I agree.
for example, Eric, if someone comes to you with house plans that you want reviewed, or something like that, is that a good example?
Sure.
You would say, well, I'll send this to Epic, they're our town engineer, or I'll send this to Ryan because some other reason.
Yeah. So I'll pull, in that very scenario, I would pull from past experience that we've had and how that's turned over and how that's moved. If there's a hiccup somewhere, we need the ability to be able to move that forward for the applicant. We don't want to hold up the applicants. We have such a small window for construction here. And we've been amicable the whole time. Epic's been very good to us.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
and Ryan's been awesome.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Great team.
Yep, absolutely. So I just think that we need that, as a director, I need to be able to move things along rather than, I see what happens at the county, and I probably shouldn't use them as an example, but, because we're being recorded, but things just stalemate. And I don't know if you guys would just follow this last thing with the building department and the fire. Fire is not approving the plans that buildings say are good, and everything is at a standstill at the county. The council now is making the determination, going back, making a job description, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of that. Making those lines definitions, and it's just not, it's not harmonious at all.
So let me understand this. So, we've got possible appointment of Ryan Taylor as our town engineer. Is that correct?
I'm okay with that,
Okay.
but I'm just saying
And
that he can't be in
and-
charge of where everything's
But
going.
you're still directing where stuff goes, but Ryan would be our town engineer and would be abreast of everything that's going on, no matter who the job is going to. So if he needs to, so if anybody has to contact each other, they're in the loop, they're on the same page.
Well, everybody will be in the loop, that's what I mean, everybody would be in that loop.
Yeah,
But I absolutely have confidence that Ryan would move that
yeah,
forward with
me too.
where we needed to be with any of those. Ryan, I guess we should hear from you.
You're next.
Conversation's headed in a good direction, I'm okay. So I think I'm okay with signing on GDA and acting as a town engineer. And then I would say that maybe Eric and I can work together on specific items so that we address your concerns. And if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, you're up to speed on everything and you've got another engineer that can pick up where I left off.
Don't be getting hit by no bus.
I don't plan to, but you never know.
Those road cows always running through fences.
So I would suggest, I would support the, motion that, hiring GDA and appointing me as the town engineer, or reappointing me, however that works. And then continue to keep Epic on as an engineer. And initially, there's a lot of things they should do, and long term, I think there's a number of things that we need to work together on. And so the only thing I'd say different from what Corey said is, Epic and I have talked about sub-consulting. If with both of us in that pool or on the payroll, I wouldn't see a sub-consultant. You can just submit invoices with him directly to avoid the sub-consultant markups and all that intermediate stuff.
Well, and what Corey said, so we don't want both, we don't want really a lot, there may be some overlap through communication, but as far as we don't want, too many things being done twice and paying for, so obviously that's gonna have to be worked out.
I
Be in the loop on that.
I think between Eric and I, we can prevent the duplication of efforts.
I'm just trying to see if there's a breakdown of duties, I mean, it seems like Epic's gonna do all the inspections, because GDA doesn't or whatever. What is it that,
I know.
do we have an idea of what each group, each entity would do?
Well, I don't know that I would have that, that's where I'd be relying on Ryan's expertise, because he's worked with Epic, he knows what they do, he knows what's out there.
He knows what he can do,
Yeah,
so.
and I think he has the foresight to say what he can do. Haven't found it yet, but we've thrown a lot of curves at him over the years. But like I said, we've come through this thing awesome. We're so much further ahead than I see. We just met with Independence and it's just a disaster.
Wow.
It's a disaster. They have a huge master plan and no way to get there.
And everyone has a different opinion about the master plan that was done years and years ago. Ms. Kim?
I see this as maybe the engineering companies make the approach to the town council and says, this is what we have to offer, this is where we've been, this is what we can do. Really, what the situation we have here is we have an employee of an engineering firm that has left that firm. And that employee has done an excellent job for the town, plus the engineering firm has done an excellent job. Now we have a new player. And it's going to be real hard to regulate who gets what. And it might put people in a hot seat, but we might be looking for what proposals we can get from each entity to see what direction we can go from there. And we definitely don't want to have to pay twice for things. And that would be easy to do. You have an overlap that can happen real easy. But I, for one, think Epic has done an excellent job, and Mr. Taylor has. GDA, I know nothing about GDA. I just met the gentleman tonight, seems like a nice fellow. But what does he have to offer the town? Can he go out and get a grant? Sounds like he can. Can he do an inspection? And so forth. I don't know. But I'd be real careful about where you try to take Epic and Ryan Taylor. To me, that's a little bit of a touchy subject. Maybe you can control it.
Well, that's what we Corey wanted to be open and clear-minded, and I think this discussion is hopefully not being blurry, it's being open and, whatever direction, we're trying to add assets, not deficiencies to our program as a council.
Yeah.
You have assets you've had for years in doing it, and we have some assets that relies Ryan, and I see it hopefully working as professionals hopefully can.
The only thing I want to make sure that Epic has the ability to continue to do, even to a larger extent than we've done in the past, and that is I want you accessible to all of our team, whether that be our funding acquisition team, whether that be our planning component, and continue with our structural, civil, all components of our organization. And so when it comes to transportation, I want our transportation guys to be meeting with you, so you get our very best transportation components, to be communicating with you on UDOT interface. When it comes to funding acquisition, I want our guys that do the very best jobs from our economic development, from CDBG, from even coupled with funding grants from Washington itself. So I want to be in the position, like like was talked about there, I want to be in the position of being able to open up our catalog to you so you can see that. And I think that that's where you're going to get your best service. You can also see what GDA provides for you and what Ryan provides to you in that. But if you have that catalog available, then you are always going to be the informed consumer and be able to make the very best decisions on your part.
And that would make sense as far as that goes. It comes back to still someone that is directing those issues you just referred to. Maybe he feels this item may come better from this direction or this direction. If you have a full team, they have a team, I don't know all the things that they do. I think that you certainly have been able to take care of us thus far, and so I think that, well, that would be a case where you would be looking at, depending on what subject matter, which direction to send it or something.
So the only potential conflict I see
Okay?
is us selling our catalog to Ryan so that he sells the catalog to you versus me selling because of our relationship and our knowledge and our understanding of who you are, me selling the catalog to you. And I think that's the conflict that was kind of alluded to.
Well, that's probably going to be a conflict that's going to be for a little bit longer as we bring on. I'm hoping it gets resolved and it can.
I just don't want to be in the conflict. I just want to be able to be open about, hey, I know you guys are looking at this, what about this? And not feel like I'm undermining Ryan when I do that.
Okay?
That's my only comment with relation to that. I want to be able to open up the catalog to you so you guys can make a decision and not put Ryan and I at a conflict as that happens.
And we don't want to cause that conflict. Hopefully, once again, we're coming to a meeting of the minds tonight, and the details will get worked out. So as far as
If it's a conflict and over a certain long period of time, then the council would have a chance to
make a decision.
decision over that. But I'm thinking that put Ryan as our town engineer, keep him there to oversee stuff, because he has been right from the start. And Eric's gonna hand stuff over, but gives Ryan a chance to just at least oversee what we're doing too, as the town.
I think we're in a little bit of uncharted just because of the way, not the way, but the circumstances we are, as a town council, are in. And so, once again, that particular detail and
Would that be up to Eric then, where it's going, but
right, and so,
I think that could be, Eric could take care of that.
and that's kind of where it's all going to be starting from application things to where, applications are still going to go to X and other things may go to Y, and then that would come from
Yeah.
Eric. But I think Ryan would certainly be aware of all the different things, and I think Epic would have the opportunity to have their program, whoever it may be, on whatever subject comes before us, be able to also communicate with Eric and the town and make whatever
Because
decisions
we
necessary.
got history with both, and we want to continue history with both.
We will start.
That'd be how I look at it.
John?
GDA are the engineers for the airport,
Correct.
and do we foresee any conflict of interest between the town of Daniel and the airport?
Yes. Oh, sorry, you wasn't.
That's what I'm wondering, and I think one reason why the Epic Ryan relationship has worked so well is because both had our interest. Both of them wanted the town of Daniel to succeed. And I wonder, with GDA being the airport engineers, if there's going to be a conflict of interest there.
Yeah, I considered that and thought with regards to the airport, because that is a very important subject for our town. And I kind of look at it as both firms have many clients, and some clients may butt heads whether it's boundaries. In this case, it's an airport. I think the professionalism is where it takes, and who we use are going to do the best for us. And they may have other knowledge, just like they have currently, of other issues that they keep to themselves for their client, and they keep to us for our as their client. But I agree, there could be be something that,
I think there would be the airport is a much bigger animal, whatever, than this little town of Daniel. And if engineers at GDA were expected to support the town of Daniel instead of the airport, or, if issues like that came up, I think that there would be, I think the town of Daniel may lose.
I would agree, and we'd have the option, if the lump came, we'd have to take that lump, but we'd, once again, if we were not happy with the service, then we'd mix that, and those are all questions that certainly cannot be answered now, but they're good questions.
I think that Ryan's proved himself in the past, to the point that without any thought, I know he put down Daniel before.
My concern though is we can't, Ryan's one guy, and as we just saw, he can move and he can change and whatever. And I have complete faith in Ryan too, trust him with everything. I don't know that that's a good position for the town to be.
To use two engineering
No,
firms? Or
to have one that is closely tied to an entity that may be of concern to us or have a conflict of interest to us.
Maybe we could have some comment on that tonight.
Okay.
Can I comment to that for just a minute, if that's all right? My
Come
name's-
up.
Sure. I'll come up. My name is Jeremy McAllister. I'm with GDA Engineers. And I'd love for the opportunity to give you guys some background on the firm. I know the situation, or I feel like I understand the situation that you're in, that you've got a long-standing relationship with a person. And what we're talking about now is an additional firm that arises. Just a little bit of background for the company. We've been in business since 1953. We're headquartered in Cody, Wyoming. We do work at a lot of airports. That's our primary focus. Certainly that's been my primary focus. We work at about 27 different airports in about 7 different states. I will tell you that sprung from being town and county engineers for most of North Wyoming, then to Northwest Wyoming, and as communities have grown and brought on staff, that element of our business has been reduced over time. Counties have got their own engineering staff, towns have got their own engineering staff. We've continued to be town engineers and county engineers and airport engineers all in the same county. We've got clients still from 1953, so 64 years later, servicing. And I will tell you, I think what I hear with the potential conflict is the airport and this the safety upgrade that we all know about. That's not necessarily what the community wants, and I mean the community at large. Matter of fact, I can tell you, and would invite you to talk with Heber City when they did the interviewing process. That was a very hot topic. We fielded questions: what are you going to do to pull Daniel in? What are you going to do to pull the county in? How are you going to help us, combat the federal, overburden? And I've attended the meetings. I've made recommendations for legal counsel that have had success in fighting some unfunded mandates that we get from the federal government in the aviation side of the business. So as far as potential conflict of interest, what I can share with you is our history, that we've been representing counties and communities. In Wyoming, it's way too small of a pool to be able to damage those relationships. And what I can also tell you is that the Heber City Airport is not the reason that we opened an office here. We opened an office here for the lifestyle and for the community. Cody is a town of about 10,000. Heber City was a town of about 12,000. we moved our family down here. In fact, we work with Epic. We've subcontracted to them, we've contracted to them. Over in Vernal, we were doing an airport